All right, T. What's going on, everybody? Today is Sunday. Hopefully, everyone has been having a good weekend, resting up for those markets coming Monday. Honestly, I'm preparing for next week to be pretty cheeks because we do have Thanksgiving. I don't know who's going to be trading on Thanksgiving or really the week before, at least the big market movers. But that's beside the point. Today's going to be a little bit of a different video. I wanted to go into my goals with trading, not my goals with trading, pretty much um, my plan to become profitable. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys if anyone out there is still struggling. It may help, it may not, because once again, I am unprofitable, so I could just be saying a bunch of bullshit. But it's all an idea, it's a goal. So I'll just get right into it. I'll go ahead and turn my camera off so we can see the slideshows completely. And we'll just get into it. Yeah, so this is just going to be Road to Profitability by yours truly. So my number one thing I think that's going to help a lot of people, including me, is going to be trading discretional. If you haven't noticed already, I am hella break even, and I think the main reason is going to be because I'm pattern trading. I can see like no matter what setups I take, they're always somewhat decent. They have the same format. It's just the outside structure, like the discretional portion of it is what I'm not getting at. Is what I'm not good at. But so with that in mind, I'm just gonna try and trade a lot more discretional. Pattern trading obviously does not get you anywhere. If you could just pattern trade it, that's why you'd have those little AI bots. Them shits would be demons. You wouldn't even need to know how to trade. And I guess it just wasn't obvious to me for a while, but now I'm gonna start implementing it and try and become a better trader. So how do you become a discretional trader? So one, it takes time. You're gonna need to trade your model for a really long time. So you're gonna have to trade your model over years. And another thing that kind of helps speed that process up in building data, a lot of people already know, is just back testing. So you could to do like a week of data in a day instead of taking a whole week to do a week of data live market. So it pretty much speeds that process up. You can learn your model really well in back testing. That's why I kind of been doing it. And then the next thing is just having a deep understanding of how the market works. So pretty much just how it moves. And then obviously you're going to need to know your model to a T. Okay, so just getting into how the market moves. So how does the market move? So we move in two different ways, technically three, but I guess the third way is pretty similar. So one thing that we're going to do is we're going to seek liquidity. So in the right, you can see an example here. Price came down, we swept this sell side here, and now we're continuing back up to take this liquidity. And there's different types of liquidity. We have session-based liquidity, so it's just going to be our London highs, London lows, Asia highs, Asia lows. And then we're going to have our time-based liquidity, so which is going to be our 9:30 high and low. It's going to be our data high and low, so just the time that data is released. So pretty just news. And then it's going to be our prominent swing high and lows, like right here. This is clearly our most prominent high. I know I didn't draw a bunch of LR right here, but it's going to be our most prominent highs and lows. And then it's just going to be fair value gaps, which kind of rolls over into our next reason the market moves, and that's going to be to rebalance inefficiency. So once price has been selling off for so long, people aren't going to want to buy. People aren't going to want to sell anymore. So price is going to have to rebalance higher in order to go lower. I kind of drew this a little wonky, but it's the same idea. So after price came up and hit that key level, we sought out liquidity. no one's going to want to buy anymore, so we're going to have to rebalance towards this fair value gap below. Yep, so it's just after we sought out liquidity, maybe we seek out equilibrium. We don't have to, but we can. And then all inefficiencies is just an imbalance in price. And yeah, so that just goes into how the market moves. And this is really important if you want to become profitable. And next, we're just going to get into our model. So you're going to need to know your model throughout really, really thoroughly. And so there's a 3-point process to your model. So obviously you're going to have, for every trade, you're going to have your take profit, you're going to have your stop loss, and then if you trade ICT concepts, you're going to have like your delivery or your rejection area or your entry model, which entry model doesn't really matter. Like if you trade IFVGs, FVGs, or CISDs, it's all the same shit. But so first thing we're going to go into is your take profit. You need to know why your take profit is good. Like what makes a good take profit. And one thing is going to be generation of liquidity. So you don't want high resistance highs. You don't want highs that keep sweeping other highs. You want those slanted highs. You want good targets. And then so here in this picture, you can see we have those slanted highs and we have external highs. So we have those slanted highs leading up to a 15-minute gap. And I believe above that, we even have those external targets. So we can even go higher than my draw. So you always need a reason for price to go higher. If you're trying to do rebalance plays and your only drawing liquidity is an unfilled 5-minute gap, a lot of the times you're going to get butt raped. But I was kind of stop rated. Yeah, scratch that out. You're going to get stop rated. And then for a good TP, this isn't all the time, because sometimes we'll just have lagging indexes and we'll just form SMTs that don't really matter. But you don't really want an SMT at your drawing liquidity. So, and this is really your main drawing liquidity or your external. Mainly your external. So if you have a little SMT with your drawing liquidity, but you can tell both pairs want to continue higher or lower, I wouldn't really care too much about the internal liquidity, like at your low-hanging fruit. It's mainly at the external draw, so you're like where you truly want to see price go. And yeah, so you wouldn't want price to have already visited your drawing liquidity on the other pair. And then next thing is going to be your stop loss. So, I mean, what do we want in a good stop loss? So it's going to be high resistance highs. So pretty much really similar to your take profit, but we're not going to want low resistance lows at our take profit. At our stop loss. We're going to want high resistance highs. So there's no reason for price to want to go back there. And then another thing, we're going to want no external targets. So below our stop loss, why are we going to want areas for price to go lower? It just doesn't make sense. And then one thing that we do want in this case would be an SMT. So it's not necessary, but if we had one, it just gives us that extra validity that price is not going to want to return there. And also FYI, SMTs do not carry a trade. You're still going to need both pairs to be delivering from something. It validates a trade. It does not make a trade more valid. No, it makes a trade more valid. It does not validate a trade. If that makes sense. Sorry, I kind of got a little confused there. But yeah, so as you can see in this picture, price came down. We filled a 15-minute gap. We got a 10 a.m. open, low, high close into that gap with this little stop point, as you can see here. Because prior to that, price tried to continue higher, and we didn't. So we got that manipulation into a key level. And I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure we had an SMT here. I just didn't draw it out. So as you can see, price does not want to continue lower. It does not make sense for price to go lower. We have a high resistance, high stop loss with that 15-minute rejection. It would make zero sense for price to go lower before going higher, because we have that LR higher and we have that low hanging fruit. It just wouldn't make sense. And then so going into your delivery, so like your key level rejection, this one gets kind of tricky. I'm not gonna lie, because price can always go lower or higher sometimes. You just have to be really careful for this with this one. Mainly if you're targeting like rebalance plays like mech models. I really need to dial in my mech models, because I can say that shit's bringing my win rate down. I was looking at my back testing throughout the past weeks, and I think maybe in the past like 5 mech model trades I probably won once. So I really need to dial that in, or honestly I'm just gonna stop taking them shits until I get a better understanding. But yeah, so going into our delivery, our key level rejection, we're going to need a 1 to 4 hour plus key level no matter what. So we aren't going to be taking trades from anything that doesn't have that. Obviously subtracting a 15-minute gap, and if you're taking like a 15-minute continuation, you have a clear draw higher. It's going to discard that, but for most of your trades, you're going to at least need a 1 to 4 hour key level rejection. And that's going to be your most prominent key level. So you can't just take, if you got LR above, it's not valid to just take one of those LR highs. We're going to need to clear all of that liquidity. And obviously this is to an extent, you really have to use discretion here with your key level rejection. I think this is maybe where I struggle with the most, because sometimes we do have supported highs and lows below that we don't need to see price return to. But that gets into a whole nother boat. This is just real surface level. But so, yeah, and from there, you're going to want to see your 5 to 15 minute plus for value gap continuations. And then as you can see here, I wrote down no 5-minute for value gap without delivery. So you're not going to have enough of delivery for price to send you higher. A lot of the times, if you're just taking a 5-minute, it's either really premium. What's the word for discounted? I don't know the other word, but it's either going to be really premium or the other ones if you're selling off. And you're just not going to have enough rejection. A lot of times you'll just get stop rated. And I think I put a bad example in the next one. But so, and like I was saying, you're also going to need both pairs rejecting. Like just because you have an SMT at a 1 hour gap on both on NQ, because NQ filled a 1 hour gap, but ES didn't, and ES is rejecting nothing, you cannot take that trade, because 9 times out of 10 you're going to get stop rated. And then up top, in this picture right here, you can see us tapping this key level right here. I'm pretty sure this was a daily gap, but this is just a 4 hour chart. Price continued lower a bunch. Price does not need to continue lower anymore after we hit that key level. And then we got an SMT further. Then we generated a bunch of liquidity above. And then so above that, you can actually see my trade of once we hit that key level, we got that inversion with that displacement. I took this trade here, targeting. We got LR here, a data high, and a for value gap above. So it's not just a for value gap. We have more targets. We have more to work with. This trade has more narrative. And yeah, and that just goes into our 3-step process for our entry model or our trades. It's freaking holy voice crack. And then now I'm just going to go in bad setup. So what makes a bad setup? In your take profit, it's going to be you have a high resistance, high target. Like we literally just swept liquidity to the upside here, and you're targeting that. And so as you can see in this picture, everything model, it's right. It's literally the same thing. We have this 5-minute for value gap delivery. We get an inversion to the upside. But what does this high do? This high literally just swept another high to the left of us. And now we're trying to target that. If we're trying to do this, we at least need to see a generation of LR and we need to have an external target. We need to have a reason for price to want to go higher. And yeah, that's what makes a bad target. And then going into your stop loss, as you can see here, look how long it takes to invert this gap. On this chart, I can say there was a 2-minute and we inverted it in one candle, but look what the 1 minute does. We just generated a bunch of LR. We don't have any volume up until when we get this candle, we just place through. This is not a good stop loss. I wish I would have had the other picture, because after this happened, we got this stop loss. I don't know. We're kind of just fucking off this day, but we continued lower. We didn't even sweep anything else out to the sell side, and then we just continued higher. This is just not a good setup. We have LR. It takes too long to invert. It just wasn't valid. And then going into our key level rejection. So as I was saying earlier, when we just sweep one of those baby highs and all the LR, it's just not valid. So in here you can see we have weak key level rejection. This is not the most prominent liquidity here. And so when you can see me taking this short, all of this is just me pattern trading. I'm like, oh damn, we filled this gap. Bam, we got a stop rate. We got an inversion. We got LR to the downside. You got to really look at what is going on. So at these lows here that I'm targeting, we see we swept prominent liquidity, and then we continued higher. Here, I'm not too sure if I remember if we had an external target. I'm pretty sure that's why this probably failed. But the delivery here is just weak. This is not a 100% valid spot to be taking a trade. We want to see us take these higher targets here. And now we can see over here that we actually reacted from them. Price rebalanced. You want to see the most prominent highs and lows taken to an extent. That's when you use your discretion. And then another thing that we really need to get to outside of your model is just going to be journaling and back testing. You want to be doing this really thorough. You want to be journaling the why of each and every setup you take, just your in-depth reasoning behind your setup. So it's going to be, why is your take profit here, and why should this get hit? And why is your stop loss here, and why should this not get hit? Why should price not return any lower than this? Or why should price only go higher from here? Yeah, and just go in depth of why you think this setup won or why you think this setup lost. And then 2 is going to be obviously your back testing. So you're going to need to build data. You're going to need to put those reps in. You're going to need to see how market moves, and you're going to need to view a lot of data on your model and how it works and why it loses sometimes and why it wins. And yeah, this is just going in 1 week of data, obviously journaled Monday through Friday. Obviously, to an extent, I don't know how busy some people are, but 9 times out of 10, you can make this shit work. And this is my screenshot. This is my back testing. Obviously, you can see I've been putting in a lot of trades, and I'm break even as fuck. So evidently, there's something wrong here that I need to fix. I need to journal it. I need to figure this shit out. And without back testing, you know how long it's going to take you to take 105 trades live market? That's damn near a year of trading that I did in maybe 2 or 3 months. It's going to save you so much time. And I hated backtesting for so long. And this shit it's so annoying. It's so stupid, but it is what it is. You're unprofitable. You got to figure this shit out. And that's enough of that. And then the most important thing is just going to be, bro, follow your rules. I need to stop being a dumbass and follow your rules. This one win or this one setup, just because it might win, even though it's a bad setup, don't take that shit, bro. It's not worth it. It's low probability, and even if you win this one time, I guarantee you're not going to keep winning. You're not going to win the next time. So just follow your rules, your setups. Don't take these bare minimum ass setups. You need each of them to at least be an A-rated setup mechanically. Now, obviously, you got to add some discretion to this unless you're going to be a bitch boy break even like me. But bare minimum, you want your setup to at least be an A-rated. And then once you start learning discretion, you start implementing these new rules to your setups, Like, you know, obviously when sometimes they lose a lot like this. You don't take them, you fade them. And it's going to be your site. So obviously you're going to want to risk accordingly. You're going to want to only risk 0.5 to 1% each trade. And I mean, obviously there's a reason for this. You don't want to be getting in too heavy, getting in too deep of a hole you can't dig yourself out of. And then from there, 1 to 2 trades max. Bro, honestly, this is plenty. And this is a day. I don't even know if you should be taking 1 to 2 trades a day. I don't even think you get that many good setups in a week. But 1 to 2 trades a day max. There's no need to be trading more than that. Newark session only, you trade 9:30 to 11 and get your bitch ass off. And obviously, bro, if you went into the day and you actually won, you did the shit most people can't do, get off the charts. You do not need to be trying to stack up wins in one day. Take your win and get off. And then going into here, this is another PowerPoint I had made. This link might work. I'm going to throw this in the description. But hopefully this works and you guys can get this. And this is just some trading rules that I had thought of with trading my models. Obviously, I haven't went over this in a little bit, so take this with a grain of salt. But it has some really good stuff in here. So I think any of you guys, if you trade ICT Concepts or Patty and Blake's trading models, you got some good stuff in here. And this just goes a little more in depth with just general rules here. Then we have rules for the mech model. It just goes a little bit more in depth of what I've been talking about. Holy shit, I need some water. A little bit in the continuation model, and then our PDI model, of course. And then this is just a little rough trading checklist of trading inversions, kind of what it looks like. You have your B-rated setup, just your bare minimum is going to be your taking your sell side and then getting an inversion to the upside. And this one's going to be delivery from a gap after taking sell side, then getting an inversion. And this one's going to be taking sell side. Oh, I guess this one's going to be taking sell side and a gap with an inversion. Then this one's going to have that SMT and an inversion. And this one's going to have that really good target. This is going to be those setups we want to take. SMT inside of the key level with an inversion with a really good target above. Those are going to give you your highest win rate possible. And yeah, that just goes over a bunch of rules. And the most, arguably the most important thing you need to be doing every day is trade with intent. You're going to want to go into each and every single day trading with intent. You have to try and get better. You have to try and learn. You have to try and improve. This is the only way you're going to get better, because if you're just going into each and every day lollygagging, bro, time is going to pass you up. 6 months is going to go by and you're going to look back and realize, what the fuck have I been doing? What have I been doing? I haven't gotten anywhere. And I think this is kind of just where I was at, and it's eventually going to happen. One day it's going to click. It's like, bro, what the fuck am I doing? I need to lock in. And you need to lock in as soon as possible. Trade with intent. You're going to want to improve, going to every single day in the market trying to become a better trader. You're going to want to learn from your mistakes. You do not want to keep repeating the same mistakes, and that's why you journal. You journal. The only way you're going to learn from your mistakes is if you see them over and over and over. You're eventually going to stop repeating them. And then just know, man, this is a long process. This shit's going to take forever. In life, you're never going to stop learning, so get used to it. And yeah, I think this is the last slide. So, I mean, thank you guys for watching. I guarantee no one's going to watch this, but hopefully this may have helped someone or anyone, or at least one person. Happy trading. Happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the rest of your week and get to work, man. Try your hardest each and every single day. Follow your rules. Trade with intent. And then know your motto. You gotta know those good setups, and fade those bad ones. So happy trading, everyone. Thank you for watching, and just profitable soon, baby. We're gonna get this shit eventually. You keep at it. You keep working hard. Eventually, this shit will work out. So I'm gonna call the video there. You guys have a good rest of your weekend.